YouTube that clip, it'll be something like ants standing up, or from ants, you know, if one ant stands up, they all stand up. And the grasshopper lieutenant is saying to the commander, he says, there's plenty of food here. There's big piles of food. Why are we going over to the ants and making them be our slaves when we don't even need them? And he said, listen, those ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever stand up, our way of life is over. It's about power and control. And the image of you saying, no, you're not going to search me 50 miles away from the border randomly with your fat dog that gets a biscuit every time it false alerts. Bring the dog back out. I don't have any drugs. You're a classic pastor like Paul who goes and puts tile in and is a carpenter. You're driving back from California, you know, doing your work. You're not putting up with it. And they now put our children through their naked body scanners and store their naked images on the computer for biometric scanning. They now are training us more and more to be slaves. And they know if they start having a revolt of the ants, it's over for them. And so they are scared to death of people that say, I am not your slave. It's over. I'm not cowed by you. I've done nothing wrong. And when you try to oppress me, you're a criminal.
Right. And they're trying to punish me and break me down. And they're trying to just basically make my life as miserable as possible by, you know, trying to ruin my business, trying to ruin my church, trying to, you know, ruin my life. But you know what? They just keep on trying. But you know what? I am not going to take back what God said thousands of years ago. You know, who am I to contradict God Almighty? And so these people can say what they want, but you know what? It's not going to change what the Bible says. And these Christians who are basically spoon-fed by their pastor a few choice scriptures from the Bible, a few feel-good sermons, who've never read the Bible cover to cover, Genesis to Revelation, you know, they're ignorant. They think I'm hateful. They think I'm wrong. But you know what? The Bible makes it clear that there are people that we should not be praying for their good. God said 3 times in the book of Jeremiah, pray not for this people, he said, because of their wickedness. He said, if you pray for them, I will not hear you.
I know, and what is this weird thing that Hitler and Stalin did where they say it's Romans 13, pray for your leaders, but when the founding fathers and everybody else stood up against tyranny, I mean, that is completely false doctrine.
It's definitely false doctrine, and it comes from just a very narrow view of the Bible where they've heard a few feel-good passages. You know, they've heard the part about Jesus telling you to love your enemies, which I do love my enemies. I only hate God's enemies. I only hate the violent, wicked, evildoers of this world. I don't hate my personal enemies who do me wrong. You know, the people who beat me up at the Border Patrol checkpoint, I prayed for them. You know, I asked God to forgive them. I don't have any hard feelings toward them. They're not the problem. They're just brainwashed. It's the people up top that are evil, and they're the ones who God needs to judge. You know, I was saying to the guys in uniform, you know, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do, because they're just brainwashed. They're just following training. They grew up on TV or whatever. They don't know what's really going on. But the bottom line is this, okay? People have a very limited understanding of what the Bible teaches because they're not reading it cover to cover, and they're going to a church that's more interested in popularity, building a bigger building, making more money, and is not interested in really telling them what the Bible actually preaches and teaches. That's the problem.
Well, this is really creepy on CNN with them calling for your arrest. I mean, look at this. I see these kind of articles every day. Democratic Party official accused in satanic rape, kidnap, woman husband said to shackle victims to beds, keep them in dog cages without food. And how many CPS workers, how many Homeland Security officials, how many people investigating child abuse, it turns out, aren't just child rapists, they're Satanists. I mean, these people are everywhere. This is the religion of the world. In fact, guys, show this video for PrisonPlanet.tv viewers. Here's the article right here. We just lost the pastor. We're going to get him back on the show right now, coming up here in just a few minutes. But, even if you're not a Christian, the point is the establishment is always saying you shouldn't have a religion, God isn't real. But then you find out the elites who are saying they're atheists, 9 times out of 10 in my research, they turn out to be occultists who are Luciferian or Satanist. And they're really obsessed with all the voodoo and all the superstition and all the, religiosity. But, again, here's the article. Democratic Party official accused in satanic rape, kidnap, women husband said to shackle victims to beds, keep them in dog cages without food. A Democratic Party official and her husband are facing charges in connection with alleged satanic rituals involving the kidnap, rape, and starvation of another couple in North Carolina. Joy Johnson, 30, a vice chairwoman of the Durham County Democratic Party and vice chairwoman of the Young Democrats, made an appearance in court yesterday after she and her spouse, Joseph Craig, were arrested Friday. Craig, 25, is charged with second-degree rape, second-degree kidnapping, and 2 counts of assault with a deadly weapon, and an incident in January and another in May. Johnson is charged with 2 counts of aiding and abetting. According to published broadcast reports, prosecutors said a man and a woman met Craig through a shared interest in Satan worship. Although the couple never consented to any physical abuse, Craig allegedly shackled his victims to bed, keeping them in dog cages, and starved them inside his home. Police said he beat the man with a cane and a cord and raped the woman. See, it's all about power, and it's always pot-bellied, weak chicken necks that seethe with weakness. And that's why they love getting control of public schools and kids. You know what I mean? That's why the old wives' tales are the Satanists come for your kids. They do. They hate innocence. They hate goodness. And they tell us to be nice and just stand down and go along with their crap. Well, I'll tell you this. I'm not standing down to their crap. We got Pastor back? Pastor, we lost your phone. Constantly, we see the Satanist and what they're doing. And they always say, oh, yeah, we're into the occult, but it's not satanic. And then I've gone and investigated it. It's always manipulation, control, domination, mind games. You look at these occultists, it's almost identical to psychiatry and psychologists. And then I discovered this is just a brand of occultist manipulation and mind control. These are just control freak scum. Pastor, your comments.
Hey, you were so right. And it's amazing how I grew up as a Baptist. And when I was a child in Baptist churches, there was all kinds of preaching against the whole modern psychiatry, psychology, the dope. There was preaching against a one world government, the mark of the beast. I'm just wondering, where has that preaching gone? Because you're right. The modern psychology is satanic. And, Satanism, they start the kids on it early with the Harry Potter, and then it goes from there. And they teach them that witchcraft is fun, it's cool, to perform spells and to
Well, I'll tell you, in high school, this stuff was rampant. And these people were all control freaks, screwed up. Their parents were into it. And these were just unhappy, screwed up people. And, I'm tired of them trying to run my life. And they want a war, they're going to get one. And these little bastards never figure that out till they squeal and beg. And, we don't take any pleasure in when they go into the fire. It's a sad thing. Comments on that,
absolutely.
Pastor?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I just want to say this. I don't know if you remember this, Alex, but do you remember what Jesse Jackson said about Obama?
Said he was Jesus.
When he said, well, the one that I wanted to draw attention to was the clip a while back where he didn't know that the cameras were rolling, and he said, I don't want to say it on the air because it was kind of obscene, but he said, I want to cut his blank off. Did you ever see that clip of
Yes.
Jesse Jackson saying that?
Yes.
And it's amazing how, I'm just praying a prayer out of the Bible, and all this fire, all this outrage. Why aren't people flipping out about, what Jesse Jackson said, which was obscene and which was actually a direct threat, saying, I want to do this to him. So,
well, that's just because Jackson, who led Martin Luther King out to the balcony, is a total globalist and just jealous of Obama. The elites all hate each other.
Right, and here's the thing. I'm just kind of a handy guy for them right now to pull out right now, and I'm basically the guy that they're using to get people mad at Christians, to get people mad at Baptists or fundamentalists or people that are, libertarian-minded. They're just kind of pulling me out and demonizing me, and they can find all the, incendiary clips in my preaching and use them to get all the sheep all fired up and mad. But you know what? I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit there and preach my sermons according to what's going to happen politically. Whatever's going to happen politically is going to happen. That's not my job. I'm not a politician.
Well, in the past, the establishment could cow us with all of this. I hope the establishment realizes that if they stage terror attacks and try to blame it on us, this is going to get out of control for everybody. So I just want things not to become escalated. But, you know, it's all in God's hands, as you say, Pastor. I want to come back and get into the whole issue of firearms and members of your church. The good old folks at New Silver Solution. And the website is supernaturalsilver.com. Supernaturalsilver.com. This is something that kills bacteria, viruses, you name it, well documented. They've got it down to a super small nano-sized particle. Supernaturalsilver.com. Check them out at Infowars.com. Supernaturalsilver.com.